Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. If you would, Madam Clerk, take the roll call.
Okay, Mr. Braun,
Present.
Mr. Moore,
Present.
Ms. Pace Snook,
Present.
Ms. Reclue,
Present.
Ms. Sabacher,
Present.
Mr. Shiverdecker,
Here.
Mr. Simmons,
Present.
and Mr. Stone.
Present.
8 council members present.
One here.
All right, we have Martin Stukenborg here to do our invocation.
I'd ask if you bow with me in prayer. Lord Jesus, we give thanks for the blessing of this day, the weather, the recent rain, the health to be here for the city that we call home. God, I pray a blessing on the mayor tonight and this city council. Bless them for the time and energy they give to govern Fulton. God, give them wisdom to know how to make the decisions that are before them tonight and in the future. God, help them to know when to favor what the majority of us need and when to set aside the majority for the needs of the few. Help all those who speak here tonight to be understood and to be able to speak freely. Help us to lead with integrity, showing grace and mercy to the folks that we interact with. God, thanks again for the blessings that you give us tonight. Help us to be more thankful and less complaining. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Everyone would stand and salute the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll have comments from visitors. If you wish to speak to the council, we won't respond, but we'll give you 5 minutes, and Madam Clerk will put you on the clock. If you wish to come forward and speak, just give us your name and your address.
I'm Linda Ellis. I live at 6745 State Road UU. But my grandson that concerns me with this lives in the city. So it is about me. It's not about me though. It's also about him. So that's why I'm bringing it to council. So I know you all tore out those fences around the parks, and I think I probably understand why, because big fences around parks just really aren't nice. A big, beautiful park by a big, nasty-looking fence kind of takes from its beauty, and I totally understand that. But I wish you all, here's the question I want to present to you, if there is some way or another you all could put up some kind of a fence or barrier between, like, the water park, the Veterans Park, and the roadway. Here's why. I have myself, my grandson, my oldest one, he's 4.5 years old, and he's autistic. So he kind of gets it in his own little head all of a sudden that he wants to take off, and he's gone in a split second. My husband and I, we're older like you all are. He takes off and gets ahead of us, and it takes everything we have to catch him. And a 4.5-year-old, they're fast. They're like grease lightning. So it takes us everything we have to catch him. Well, every time we take him to the park, every time we take him to the thing, we sit around. Of course, we're both from emergency services. I've seen children be hit and that kind of thing. So everything that can happen to a child, when our kids were raised this, I always am, oh, don't touch that, don't do that, don't do it, but that's what I was raised, that's what I've done. So I worry about that. We take him there and we constantly worry about, oh man, if he takes off, catch him, and so we do. But it's also, if we spend just 10 seconds talking to somebody and turn back around, he can be gone into that roadway like that. What made me go ahead, I wanted to come and ask you all this anyway, just from my philosophy of this and seeing this. But the other day, last week, I'm coming down 54 Hill here, and I look over at the water park, and I see this toddler, probably 2 or 3-year-old, and he's heading from the water park towards the roadway, towards 2nd Street. And I'm watching coming down this hill going, ooh, somebody got to grab him, somebody. And finally, this 20s jumps up, and he takes off after this kid. He caught the kid when the kid got to the sidewalk. He finally had caught him. 5 seconds more, just 5 simple seconds. If that guy would have kept doing whatever he was doing, the kid would have made it to the roadway, which could have been a disaster for one small child being hit. So what I want to ask the council is if you all could just maybe consider something. I'd even be willing to help and try to make it whatever we can and the best value we can get for it and the, you know, whatever. Make our park still look beautiful, because I'm all about making land. If we could do something, put some kind of a fence there that's going to slow that little one down, that the little one's not going to climb over that fence, going to give the parent a little more time, or the old grandparent a little more time to be able to catch them before they make it to the roadway. That's the only thing I want. You know, and I know y'all have done an excellent job with moving that one over there, Veterans, back away from the roadway. And it's not even as bad as, like I said, the water park. It's pretty close to, you know, when it's a toddler. I mean, y'all know. I'm sure most of you had, not all of you had kids. Man, in a blink of an eye, they're like streak going down the road. So that's just all I wanted to come and ask. I said I figured, you know, if I don't ask, then it's my own fault if, you know, I don't be able to change someone's life opinion or whatever. So that's all I wanted to ask. You know, and like I said, if y'all want me to help in any way or want my opinion or whatever, or, you know, I'm more willing. I'm more willing to try to get it done or whatever. And so that's all I wanted. Was to
Thank
ask.
you, Linda.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, is there anyone else that would wish to speak to the council? Seeing no one come forward, we'll move on to consent agenda. Council members may choose to remove any item for discussion. Tonight on the agenda, we have approval of the city council meeting minutes for June 25th and July 9th. Also, we have the director's report for June. Approval from an event request from Missy Dothage from the director of our house for a barbecue at Memorial Park. She's requesting permission to sell barbecue and t-shirts to raise funds. We also have the acceptance of the following reports: planning and zoning, historic preservation, and public U-board. And I believe that's it.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to discuss an item within the Director of Administration's report.
Gotcha. So we'll pull that off. Are there any other requests?
Does anybody have any comments or questions about number D? If not, I believe we did it last year, so I would move that we leave it on there. Approve it. I mean, yes.
Was that a motion for everything else on the consent
Motion
agenda?
to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
So just to be clear, we pulled the administrator's report and
We
D?
did not pull D. D
Okay.
was staying on there.
Okay.
Yep.
But if you want to discuss it, now's the time to do it, right?
No, I think I understand it.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any other discussion on this? If not, I'll call for the question. All approve, say yes.
Yes.
If you oppose, say no. That's passed. So we can talk about the DOA report.
Okay.
Mr. Stone.
The Director of Administration's report included some information about our solid waste, and I'm specifically interested in our recycling, and I did not see any details about our, current cost, current tonnage, all the current details about the recycling.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Courtney sent me a little message. Said that
I realized
to be
after I
prepared.
replied to it that you weren't even on the email.
Yes, that's right. So, effective June 1st, the recycling rate went up. It went up to $140 per ton. So before that was 120. I think it's been 120 since about September, October. January, we weren't for sure if it was going to go up or not, and it didn't. So it stayed 120 until June 1st. So, and that is on a single source. Or single, what do you call
Stream.
it? Stream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
single stream. So for the month of June, the tonnage was 11.6 tons.
11.6.
Yeah. And then so far this year, it's been 78.39 tons for recycling. for residential.
And we did some research for alternate locations to take this. The closest one that accepts single stream is in St. Peters. And it was going to be about, I think, $90 a ton. And but with the additional trucking, there's just, it'd be better than 2 hours down there and 2 hours back. And, just, it wouldn't work for us to take it down to St. Peters. So for us to continue with the recycling program, we're pretty much locked into Jeff City.
And then, I don't know if you have these details in your head or if any of the other department directors would, but how many of our residents take advantage of the carts? And then aside from that, how many actual trash customers do we have?
I think we have about 800 carts out.
Yeah.
And residentially, we have 4,500, close to 5,000 residential customers. And we only do recycling for the residential. We do not do it for the commercial.
Right.
Good memory, Bill.
What I'm interested in us doing is actually looking at, currently the cart rates are very reasonable at $1 a cart. And if we need to raise that a little bit, but then that's taking advantage of the customers who, are showing great interest in it when it's actually something that's beneficial to everybody, and everybody has the opportunity to use it, whether they have a cart or not. And that was something that Bill mentioned as we were walking in. At 45, at $130 per ton, that's in 12 tons a month. I already cleared out so we've got 12 tons at $130 a month. It's 1,560 times 12 months is 18,000. And if we do that by the 4,500 customers we've got, it's a little over $4. It's less than $4.25 a year. If we wanted to think about maybe adding something to the...
Where'd your 130 come from? Where'd your 130 come
I
from?
thought you said it was $130.
140.
140. Okay. And there's another $144. So it's still going to be around $4.25. I think it's something we need to look at to pay for our current cost.
So,
I think we need to cover our cost on the recycling in order, I want us to keep the program, but I want us to also cover it.
I don't disagree with trying to offset the cost. But are you going to get into the situation where if you increase the blue barrel rate, I don't really need that blue barrel.
Right.
I'll go ahead and just use a bag or something else. I didn't. Don't get me wrong, I don't disagree to try to offset some of that cost, but
I think Mr. Stone's
And I know this
request
isn't
was
the
spreading
time
that
to-
across just those that recycle. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say?
It is. That's where you get to the $4.25 a year.
oh, $4.25 a year.
A year across all of our trash customers. And I know this isn't the time to really get into this type of detail, but I think someone needs to have the discussion, and we need to think about it, adding that price. But thank you, Robert.
Okay,
That was the
sure.
details that I was
Yep.
looking for.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you, Rob.
Do we have more questions on the report this month?
Nope, I think I'm good.
If not, I'll call for motion to accept the DOA report.
I move to
Motion to
accept it.
accept. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Are there any more questions? I'll call for the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. All right. So we next have the presentation and acceptance of financial report. Ms. Holschlag is here.
I'll start off by telling you that our sales tax collection with 5 months reporting was right in line with the same time last year. So we're back in this cycle.
We lost it.
Yeah, we were 4% ahead last month, and now we're on a par. I've tried to itemize all our capital expenses. Probably the most out of the ordinary thing, it occurs once a year. We made the principal and interest payment on the Fulton Commons TIF. And I've noted how much interest, how much principal. So, in the sewer fund, the year-to-date capital outlay is still an addition, because if you remember last month, we had to add back in what we had charged to retainage. So, the capital outlay month to date was only $118,000. So, instead of being $300,000, it's whatever that difference is. Just so you don't think I forgot to put the negative there. And I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
I have two questions, Kathy.
Okay.
First off, I see on the electric fund, and I know I asked this question of Bill, is the increase in the electric fund just due to warmer weather, the majority of that?
Increase in revenue, is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
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 Okay, and that's normal for this
Yes.
time of year?
It's very, very typical. Just like this time of year, gas revenues are going to go down, and we'll probably keep losing money in gas until December. You can almost hang your hat
After
on
last week, I'd be ready to almost think about increasing my gas.
it. Yes.
So,
And I predict electric will go up next month, so,
There you go.
without a crystal ball.
the second question I have is I've been on the council since April of last year. No, I don't, yes, I think that's correct. And, you know, every month we get the operating statement from you, and I appreciate it. When do we have the opportunity to know what are in the reserve funds? And when do we, you know, we see what we spend and what we bring in, but we really don't know what's out there in the reserve funds at all. When is that shared?
Kathy has that, it's called a call on cash report. And currently and historically, she has given that to me and the mayor. It really has never before gone to the city council. Would you like a copy?
Yes, I would like a copy of it, and I don't know how anybody else feels, but I think that might be of a benefit for us to know what's there. And that's my two questions.
Answered.
Thank you. But yes, I would like a copy of that, Bill, please.
Motion to accept the financial report?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions? If not, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, unfinished business, we have none. New business, Megan Pringer is here from the United Way to ask for a favor.
Hi, I'm Megan Pringer with the Callaway County United Way. I know there's a few new faces, so typically the Callaway County United Way kicks off our campaign every year with United Way Day and Radiothon. It used to be at Walmart, and then a few years ago we moved it down to the Memorial Park, and it's been a better setup for us. It's better for the kids and just all around for us to have barbecue and the car show. We are going to kick off our campaign again this year in our event on September 13th. And so I'm just coming before you this evening to ask for permission to go ahead with that event again this year and to see if we could waive the park fee. We typically do the concessions and then use the parking lot for the car show, and we have a bounce house for the kids and stuff like that.
I make United Way
Second.
request.
Okay, is there any more discussion on this or questions for Megan? If not, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. All right, that passes.
Thank you
Good
so
luck.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And on the agenda is the proposal from Peace Festival. Is there anyone here for that?
I'm Mr. Mayor. I'm supposed to, he wasn't able to attend. He had an event in St. Louis, so if you have questions, I think between Robert and I guess we could fill in most of it.
Gotcha.
Unless Mr. Johnson wouldn't get in.
Last I heard, the last outstanding was proof of insurance, and I'm under the impression that's been secured.
Very good.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Are there any other questions or discussion on this? Not, I'll call for the question. All those, sorry.
And it's just a crazy question. 2 big dumpsters. Are we talking 30-foot dumpsters, or do we know?
I think he's
Large enough to accommodate the trash?
Right.
Okay.
Like the 3-yard or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm thinking, gosh, 30-yard.
Couple big roll-offs.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have that much.
We're expecting some trash. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So if there's no more questions, all those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. All right. Council concerns, I'll start with Councilwoman Seebacher.
I have none, thank you.
Councilman Simmons?
I don't have anything.
Councilwoman Recluse?
Nothing today.
Well, we're clicking them off.
Well, we are.
Councilman Stone?
I had some, but I can't think of it at the moment, so I guess I'm good.
All right, hurry up,
Must
hurry
not
up.
have been
No,
that-
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Must not have been that important.
Well, me too, so.
Councilman Braun?
I will go back to Ms. Ellis's statement. I definitely think that there might be a need for us to entertain and talk a little bit more about, you can call it closing in, whatever we might think of, but something to maybe deter the children from running off. So I thank you for your time on that. And I certainly think that we should take a look at what might need to get done there.
Speed bump?
Maybe a big
speed bump.
berm that they have to climb over, but.
I noticed all the greenery that's grown up in the creek has kind of created a fence of sorts. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's some kind of thought that we could,
And I had a conversation with Linda about this at the ambulance board meeting, and she is coming at it from being a parent and a grandparent, but also 30 years paramedic, seeing what can happen.
There is
And-
no doubt.
And even if it's just a simple rail,
Something.
if there's that visual stop, many times the kids they won't go past it. It doesn't even have to be anything elaborate or enclosing, just even a simple rail fence, just, okay, I can't go past there.
Some nice decorative grass or
Yep.
something. So I don't disagree, but I think it's certainly worth us.
so we can definitely look into that,
Yeah.
come up with something, I think. Main thing is not to ruin the aesthetics. It's beautiful down there. We don't want to put a chain link fence up. I don't believe anyone would want that.
Well, there has to be something you can do. Save the child.
That's all I have, thank you.
Cool. Councilwoman Pace Snook. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's so much to say there.
You're over there.
I have nothing
Yeah.
tonight, thank you.
Thanks. Councilman Moore.
I have nothing tonight.
All right. Councilman Shiverdecker.
Guess we can move on with the agenda.
All right. Good deal.
Volkswagen grant.
Oh, yeah, okay, so before we move on, we want to talk about one quick thing here that came up.
A few months ago, we applied for some Volkswagen money. Volkswagen got in trouble for some of their emissions and gave the federal government a whole bunch of money, and the federal government divvied that up amongst the states based on the number of Volkswagens that the state had in its inventory. And we received funding to pay for half of a new roll-off truck, about $72,000, $73,000. And we received half funded, about $50,000 to pay for half of the new dump truck. Well, Volkswagen's getting ready to do round 2. And just to kind of give you guys an idea, I think we may be applying for, not that we're going to get it, we applied for like 5 or 6 last time. We got 2. So I think we're going to look at applying for 4 this time. A couple out of the electric department, maybe 1 out of the street, and 1 out of the gas department. The electric and gas, I don't think it would be too much of an issue, but if we and I haven't talked to Daryl about this, nor Kyle, but if we apply to replace that street department truck, I may actually give the new truck to the gas department and hand one of the gas departments down to the street department. Let's do the lack of funding in the general fund. So everybody cool with me applying for those and seeing what we come up with?
So if we applied for 5 and we got 2 last time,
Yeah.
let's apply for 6 and see what we can get. Close to half. I'm fine with it, thank you. Ask for more and get less.
Greedy. Greedy.
Yes, sir, thank you. Yes,
When would we need to spend the money if we got the grants? This
They
year
gave
or
us
next
about 3
year?
months last time. Applications are due August, so September, October, November,
Probably the end of the year.
probably November.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
but we'll talk about it again.
You'll hear about it when if we get awarded anything.
When will we find out?
Applications are due, I believe, the end of August.
Okay. And just double checking, because I actually have that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Oh, good for you.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that again
Okay.
in a
Maybe then
resolution.
maybe by then we'll tell you what trucks we're applying for.
Cool.
Well, thank you. Moving on, we'll do resolutions. Tonight we have Councilman Shiverdecker to present Resolution 3348.
Yes, sir. Resolution 3348, a resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri, to sign all necessary documents in relation to a contract with Bill Sullivan Excavation of Silex, Missouri for the Route O boring project. Make a motion that we adopt Resolution 3348 at tonight's meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we want to talk about this at all, Bill, or, I mean, we kind of know what it is.
It's a vital component of the Route O lift station. We are going to be putting in a new force main from the lift station, kind of, in my opinion, south down across some state property to where it will tie into a gravity line again. We've worked with Bill Sullivan before in the past. He's done great work. Great, he gave a great price on the bore. Is there any questions?
I think the
I
original
think they-
estimate was about 130, and we got it, getting it done for,
Well, I think that was
less than
the
100.
high bid. The high bid was like 130.
How many feet is that bore, Bill?
How many feet? 80, 100, 100?
Goodness gracious,
Farrell,
that's
100?
cheap then, yes.
75?
75, yep, I'm good
It's
with it.
from one, it'll pretty much cover the highway right away on Route O, right there next to the lift station, from right away to right away. As I've heard, I haven't seen, I guess the crews have already been out and done a lot of the right of way clearing for laying the new line. I think we got most of that done.
It's done and we've been laying pipe.
Oh, they're laying pipe.
35,000 seems like a pretty reasonable offer.
Very, if you would have just asked me 2 months ago what it's gonna cost us to bore into the highway, I would have said probably 40, 45. So 35 is,
And I've always heard it's $1,000 per foot. I mean, that's a rule of thumb that I've heard. So that's why I asked.
and now
how
what
many
he'll
feet.
do, he'll bore a hole under the highway, and he will shove a steel case through the bore, okay? And then our force main, we will slide it through the case. And the MoDOT requires the steel casing so that there's no collapsing of the trench or the bore to allow the road to settle in that area.
that ought to be pretty cool to watch.
It's pretty slow.
Is it?
Pretty much.
It's not gonna be like, oh, watch. It's gonna be like, oh, come back an hour later, it's like, oh, yeah, okay,
Time lapse.
And obviously, I think he's got a pretty good idea what's in the ground, but if he hits rock, is that an additional charge?
We have rock borings from when the other bore cases went through there.
Okay. Because I know that that's some of the case
and
as
there's a lot
well.
of rock in that area.
From time to time, when they hit rock, then it's, as long as they don't get it stuck in the hole. I've seen that happen.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any more discussion on this? If not, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed, no. That resolution passes. Moving on to ordinances, Councilman Braun, if you would present Bill 1551 for first reading.
Bill number 1551, an ordinance readopting ordinance 938-03, enacting Chapter 2, Administration, Article 1 in the general section 2-9 through 2-13 pertaining to the annual financial disclosure requirements, Fulton City Code, and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to place Bill 1551 on the agenda for the next regular scheduled meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have Bill 1551 open for discussion.
This is something we're required by the Missouri Ethics Commission to do every 2 years. So as you can see, that specific ordinance was enacted in 2003. Every 2 years since then, we've been enacting the exact same one. So that's just kind of the standard procedure for us. And it requires you to do your annual financial disclosure.
Which we all do at election time. Is that right?
Or by May 1st,
Okay.
for those who aren't running again, yep.
Cool. Is there any discussion on that or questions? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. That passes for second reading. Councilman Moore, if you'd present Bill number 1552.
Bill number 1552, an ordinance repealing Chapter 50, Fire Protection Prevention, Article 2, Fire Prevention Code, Fulton City Code, and enacting a new article in lieu thereof. I move this for a second reading at the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? What exactly is this?
So this is something that Kevin and I found probably about a month ago. We actually had a section in our code stating that we were following a 1996 BOCA building code, which we obviously have not been following for quite some time because you guys enacted the 2015 codes last year. So this is just something that we need to clean up out of our code, take this old stuff out. We already have something new in effect, so just basic house cleaning.
Gotcha.
Good, thank you.
Slowly getting there, aren't you?
We are. You're going to see more of those in the next couple times.
That's good. That's good.
One at a time.
So is there any discussion on this or questions?
Well, yeah, just to jog my memory here, I think it was last year, we were living to a code that required a whole bunch of tornado stuff. And we rescinded that and backed up. Was it the 15 code that we backed up? So we're not living to the 15 code, is that?
We are living to the 15 code, just unfortunately each department, for the most part, has their own chapter. So Parks and Rec has their own chapter, and this is the same with the fire department. And for some reason in there, it said the fire department's gonna follow this 1996 BOCA code, even though all of our other standard codes are in the buildings chapter. So everything you guys adopted is in the buildings chapter, and we are operating under those standards. Dennis, yes. Okay, we are operating under those standards, so we definitely just want to remove
Some of the,
this
yeah,
other stuff out of there.
kind of clean up.
Yeah. So that way, if someone should look at it in the future and not know anything about the building code, they're not thinking we're still operating under 1996.
Thank you. Question?
All right. So I have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any more discussion on this? I'll call for the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. That passes. And moving on to second reads, Councilman Stone, if you'll present.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
as I did the last time for the first reading, I'm going to recuse myself for these again.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Thanks. Okay, moving on, bill number 1548, if you would, Mr. Stone.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Bill number 1548, an ordinance amending Appendix A zoning, Section 1, Definitions, and Section 4, Use Regulations, Fulton City Code by establishing zoning regulations related to medical marijuana facilities. I make a motion to place Bill number 1548 at third reading at the next scheduled council meeting.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I don't see anything in yellow. Has there been any changes made to this?
I double checked that, and this one was not amended.
Gotcha. Is there any discussion or questions on this? If not, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. That passes to third read.
Very good.
And if we could get someone to holler at...
No, no,
actually,
no.
Oh, no, no,
next
we
two.
have to do this. Okay.
Keep going.
My
Next
bad.
meeting.
So, Councilwoman Seebacher, if you would present Bill 1549.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Bill 1549 as amended, an ordinance amending Chapter 22 Businesses, Fulton City Code by incorporating an additional article relating to medical marijuana. I make a motion to place Bill number 1549 as amended for third reading at the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Second.
All right. Excitement. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. And Councilwoman Pace Snook, if you would present 1550.
Yes. Bill number 1550 as amended, an ordinance of the City of Fulton amending Chapter 78 by enacting thereof 5 new sections, repealing Section 110-66, and enacting in lieu thereof 1 new section, all regarding marijuana and medical marijuana. I make a motion to place Bill number 1550 as amended for third reading at the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any questions on this bill?
This is the page with the highlighted.
Yeah, so, but that, did we have those changes in the last time?
Yeah, so that was based on the amendments we made last time. Specifically on this one, the only thing that was changed was adding a Section 5, allowing our codifier to clean up those numbers.
Right.
Gotcha. So if there's no more questions, I'll call for the question on Bill 1550. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
And opposed, no. That passes to third read. I believe, Madam Clerk, you have an announcement at least here?
Do we need to go ahead and get Rick?
We'll go ahead and,
yeah.
can you bring Rick back in?
Let him take a nap.
That's not.
We need somebody to adjourn the meetings when we're done. He's always first.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so announcements, our next meeting will be on Tuesday, August 13th, 2019, with a work session at 6:30 and a regular session at 7 o'clock. We are planning on having a retreat, so as soon as we have that time finalized and everything, we'll definitely send you guys an email and the information for that. Bill and I were talking earlier, though, and we had previously set our September meeting for September 24th. However, due to some bid deadlines and all those good things with the recreation center and the ball complex, we're going to need to move that to the 17th.
We opened bids on the rec center today. Those bids are good for 60 days. The ball fields will be opened, the bid on the ball fields will be opened on August 27th. That's going to give those folks 5 weeks to put together a number on the ball field. So we'll have between August 27th and the end of the 60 days, which is about the 20th of September.
Right.
So what we did is we're looking at making the September meeting September 17th.
Okay.
That will give us time to evaluate and come up with some options. And just to be honest, I'm thinking about suggesting that we have another meeting on like that Thursday, September 12th, Thursday after we get back from the MML conference. Just so we talk about financing and talk about the money associated with with either and or both projects. Because by that date, we will have hard numbers on both projects and be able to make some sort of analysis. So I'm thinking, we don't have this totally figured out yet, but possibly a meeting on September 12th and then another meeting on September 17th.
And we were only planning on having one that month anyway.
We were going to only have one that month.
Yes, so that just helps.
And I'm sorry, the opening for the ball fields was August 27th, correct? Okay.
27th.
27th, the bids.
27th, yes.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yep, sounds good.
It's a big enough deal to add that in. Will that be a meeting here or,
Be here.
okay, like a normal council, more or
Yes,
less?
like a normal council meeting.
Okay.
Just not pizza.
So, but we will not
The
have
one on
the
the,
one on the
the
24th.
one on the September 12th could be maybe more of a work session, but it could be a council meeting too for,
Yeah, just whatever.
however you guys want to do it.
Sounds good. Fine.
Just to ask the question, I can probably make other arrangements for September 17th, but would it be possible to have a council meeting on Monday, September 16th?
It would be possible, but depending on what the council suggests or recommends or talks about and what direction they give administration,
You
I would
may
hate
need the
to,
extra
I would
day.
hate to do them, but just back to back. I'd like, hopefully like to have a few days to ponder.
I agree.
Then I'll make other arrangements. I think I have enough time.
Sounds good.
The bids that we have for the rec center,
Yeah,
is that, I've heard those aren't fully furnished or are furnished or,
Clay?
There'll be
Okay.
additional costs.
but we'll know that come September. Okay.
Still looking to hold the September 24th.
No, we can't.
We're moving the 24th to the 17th.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
To let everybody know.
I have in my calendar a note about that we were already going to do an extra council work session that night. Was that about
Possible that
budget?
we might do a budget retreat. We usually do in like
Okay.
September, October.
Yeah, we do.
I think that's when we were looking to do that.
Someone,
So just,
So we should know probably as we get a little bit closer specifically what we're looking at with that.
okay. I just wanted to share what I found on my calendar.
Everybody good with that, kind of that plan, concept? Well, that's the direction we're going to go.
Very good. Are there any other announcements? We do not have a need for executive session.
Motion to adjourn?
Second, see what I'm talking about?
I did it right this time, right? All those in favor? Say
Aye.
Yes.